Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. I am Comfort Eyitayo, your regular host on the Connect with Comfort show. On this show, we aim to add value to people on business, enterprise, their personal growth, and we feature guests who are subject matter experts from time to time to shed more light and share with us their insights on the topic at hand. I'm excited that you are able to join us today. Thank you for connecting with us. You are most welcome. The topic for discussion today is of utmost relevance in our rapidly evolving world, and that is embracing change and uncertainty. You will agree with me that this present time is filled with a lot of change and large dose of uncertainty all over the world and even particularly in our own clime, Nigeria. In a time marked by constant technological advancements, shifting global dynamics, as well as unforeseen economic distortion or challenges, our ability to navigate the uncharted waters of change is pivotal to personal growth, professional success, and the resilience of our business. That great philosopher, Heraclitus, once said, change is the only constant in life. As we examine this topic today, we find ourselves amidst a landscape where the only certainty is uncertainty. Shifting global dynamics had made us to realize that the reality might seem daunting. It is also incredible opportunity for us to harness the power of adaptability, creativity, and innovation in order to combat both the change and uncertainty that we're faced with. The ability to not only weather the storms of change, but to embrace them wholeheartedly can determine our ability to thrive in an ever changing world. On the show today, we will look into the significance of cultivating a mindset that welcomes change rather than shying away from it. We will explore strategies to navigate the uncharted territories of uncertainty, transforming them into opportunities for growth and advancement. So let us embark on this journey of exploration and discovery together. Let us challenge our preconceptions, broaden our perspectives, and learn from experiences and insights to be shared by our guests today. Once again, I say welcome as I ask you to join me to embrace transformative power of change in this show. Please remain connected while we go on a very short break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
It's a life of hustle and survival. I remember when my ninth grade teacher asked me, Lisa, what do you want to be when you grow up? And see, I have to fight the Harlem Crip 30s every day to get home from school, so I looked at her and said, alive. I took an English class, I got a fail in English. And my English teacher said in front of the entire class, Lisa, you have to be the weakest writer I've ever met in my entire life. Don't worry, my story ends good. Don't feel sorry for me. I got 7 under my belt. And then the same year, my speech teacher said, after giving me a D-, I knew I had an A in speech. Like, come on. He obviously didn't agree with me. He gave me a D- and said, quote unquote, Miss Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. So here's the beauty of that story. Other people's perception of you ain't none of your business. Everything you've ever been through, sat through, rose through, cried through, prayed through, everything is a setup for your next best season. In the way you forgive the perceivingly unforgivable, the way you love the perceivingly unlovable, the way you accept what seems to be unacceptable, the way you embrace after you've been betrayed, the way you do that is the way you will lead us. Your light belongs to everyone who'll be illuminated because you were bold enough and obedient enough to let your light shine. Yes, 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 yes. And every time you
are welcome from that beautiful video break, Let Your Light Shine. And that includes embracing change and not looking at the dark side of change alone. We are at that moment where we welcome our guest. Our special guest for today's topic is Rotimi Eyitayo. Rotimi Eyitayo is a splendid business growth and development strategist, a certified management consultant, and a business startup coach. He is the lead consultant and chief executive officer of Team Masters Limited. He is an author, facilitator, and great trainer. Please join me in making welcome to the show today, Mr. Rotimi Eyitayo. You are most
Thank you very
welcome,
much.
Rotimi. Thank
Good
you for
evening. Thank you.
joining us. Thank you for joining us on today's show and for accepting to share your insight with us on this very interesting and important topic. You are most welcome.
Thank you.
Our first question is in the premise of personal growth and adaptability when we talk of change. So I will ask you, how would you define embracing change and uncertainty in the context of personal growth?
Thank you very much. When we talk about embracing change and uncertainty, it just speaks about us understanding that we have the power of choice. Life will always throw things at us, but our response or right responses is what determines the desired outcomes that we have. So that's what I like to say as an answer to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that precise and short definition. With that, what would you say are the benefits of being open to change and uncertainty in one's personal life?
So when we are open to change, it means that we have given ourselves the chance or the chances for possibilities. It means that we are opening ourselves to growth and continuity. It also means that we are opening ourselves to much more than we have currently. So opening ourselves to change actually gives us room to explore and grow. And like the scientists normally say, if anything is not growing, then that means that thing is dying.
Very, very true. If it's not growing, it's dying. So we have to watch out to make sure that our business is growing, our personal life, we are experiencing growth so that we will not be deemed to be dying. So can you recall a specific instance where embracing change led to personal growth. How did it shape your perspective?
Yes, there are many instances, but I want to pick the COVID era as a major experience. Before then, meetings, briefings, even trainings were more of physical. It was on site, and so the business model that I was used to had to be tweaked, because now clients were not available for physical meetups, and even the regular service delivery had to change. We had to begin to look at migrating online, both for client acquisition and client relationship management. That was a very big demand because it was not just on the back end that we had to pivot, but the front end, making sure that it was experiential. We're delivering on the service promise, and clients were also getting the desired outcome. So that was a big time for change, because also there are some people that were not too used to certain platforms. In fact, we had to explore platforms tailored specific to the kind of clients that we're dealing with. So that's an example of change, personal change.
That's a very good example, and I can attest to that. I think it's an example that got across so many personal lives and even corporate life. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
So, how can individual cultivate a mindset that allows them to adapt positively to unexpected changes?
All right. One of the things that one can do is to have what I call a positive attitude. Understanding the fact that life can choose to send anything across to us. The positive attitude helps us to still feel empowered to give life a try. And as business executives, as entrepreneurs as well, one of the ways to cultivate positive attitude towards change, especially unexpected change, is to practice a high level of self-awareness. Most of the time, most people that practice self-awareness are able to also self-regulate. You're able to quickly adapt, just like the chameleon, to the situations that done well. So you find out that agile businesses, agile entrepreneurs are people who are able to practice adaptiveness, and then they're able to position themselves so for easy leverage, or in certain situations to preserve themselves from being taken out based on the kind of change that is happening.
Thank you very much. You have wittingly answered the next question for me, talking about self awareness. You have included that in your response to that question. So, what would you consider in the realm of career and professional development? Why is it important to embrace change and uncertainty?
Well, for career and business development, it is important because um, there's a saying that says that if we don't adapt, definitely it means that change itself will change us. And if you think about it carefully, sectoral change will always lead to industry change. Industry change will lead to organization change. Organization change will demand individual change. And so sometimes it's not always us at the forefront driving the change. It is sometimes industry led, it's sometimes sector led, and sometimes it's organizational led. So once we have the mindset and disposition to be flexible, to understand that even if it's something new or strange, we are able to put ourselves in a position to learn, to ask questions, to team up, to collaborate, and sometimes delegate effectively to ensure that in all the changes that occur, we still come out tops at the end of the day.
That is very correct. How then would you be advising organization leaders to encourage their teams to embrace change and uncertainty for the betterment of the company? Did you get that?
I think it non is non-negotiable. Raise. Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It was fuzzy a little while. I can hear you
Can you
now.
hear me,
Loud and clear.
please?
Go ahead.
Hello.
Please go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay. So I it's important that hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear
The
you. Go on.
network. Okay, it's important that we prepare our teams, our employees for change. It's necessary because that's the culture of the world. The world is so dynamic. We're having a lot of rapid is the workplace today is known for agility in the workplace. And when we begin to raise our team members and our employees to have that agile work culture, then they start thinking about critical thinking, agile thinking. They start thinking about design thinking that makes them to be able to deliver on the current demands. The world is actually going to be with the people who have leverage for not just having change in terms of mental attitude, but also riding on the winds of change. Those who stay empowered are people who ask the question, what is the opportunity, or what is the opportunity behind the problem or challenges that the world and the industry is facing? And once you're able to do that, you are able to get your team always leading. Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello, can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
dry bones will rise again. 'Cause the stone has been rolled away. At the touch of living water, yeah, yeah. This broken branch will live again. These fallen walls will be restored, says the Lord. To His voice as He calls, come forth, come alive. It's not over till Jehovah says dry bones will rise again. Yes, they will, they will. And the barren will sing again. Out of the dust and from the ashes, yeah, yeah, will arise new life again. Yeah, yeah. That which was dead will live again, says the Lord. So arise, take up your bed and mourn, yeah. That which was lost, I will restore, says the Lord. So hear His voice as He calls, come forth, arise, come alive. It's not over till Jehovah says yeah. Arise, the Master is calling you forth, yeah. Mighty soldier, you must fulfill your destiny, yeah.
Come forth, come forth.
Come forth, come forth.
Come forth, come forth.
Hey, it's not over till Jehovah says yeah, yeah, yeah.
Come forth, come forth.
Come forth, come forth.
Come forth, come forth.
It's not over till Jehovah says it is. Oh, 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 oh. It's not over. It's not over.
hope I hope people can hear me. Uh, good evening, good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, just say yes. Let me know. So that I am sure I'm audible. Apologies for the network glitch. Okay, someone says they can hear me loud and clear. So as I was saying, um, embracing change and uncertainty, especially for organizations, I think that leaders and leadership of organizations should be very proactive in raising a culture, you know, of embracing change. In fact, change management is something that should be um, very familiar with the workplace culture. People should try to ensure that they embrace change and also understand how to design change. I think with that, that helps us to easily put things in better perspective, put things in the right direction. Welcome back, Ma.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the network glitch. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I was I hope you have given the answer to that.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So how does embracing change and uncertainty contribute to building psychological resilience?
Well, there was a research done some time ago by Harvard, and it was stated in that research that 90 to 95% of um, workplace productivity was tied to emotional stability. And when we find people not being able to demonstrate resilience, not being able to follow up and follow through assignments and tasks, sometimes you find out that their inner makeup and their inner being is not so strong. So when we begin to see people embrace change, they are training not just the physical muscle, but the muscle of the mind. They are overcoming what people normally tag mental fatigue. So they're able to go through with exercises with mindset that even if it's difficult, it doesn't mean it's not possible. So they've not termed difficulty as a negative thing or reality, as a challenge that they are able to surmount. And sometimes that's what leads to the culture of questioning, because the more people ask questions, they begin to find answers. So when we find a situation or a scenario where corporations, organizations, enterprises begin to throw their people towards dynamic events and situations, they begin to move from linear thinking to lateral thinking. And lateral thinking means that there are more than one way, one pathway to doing things. In the Yoruba parlance, they will say that onokon roja, where people now begin to think of possible ways and possible routes to make things happen. Then they are building the dexterity emotionally, they're building their mental muscles, and then they become better experts at the things they do.
Thank you very much for that. What are some skills that are particularly valuable when navigating uncertain professional landscape?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. One of the skills that will come in handy with networking skills. It said that your network will always determine your net worth. So there's a correlation that when we begin to navigate uncertain waters, difficult terrains, our ability to network might give us a chance to collaborate. And that's why there's a new word called co-opetition. Instead of competition, it's more like collaboration coming together with competition. So it's co-opetition. Another skill that might be necessary is questioning skills. A lot of people need to practice that. I sometimes used to find that when we ask questions, it draws us closer to having answers. Another skill that might be also necessary in situations where we're trying to, push forth into new terrains and embracing challenges, it's that's the skill of being a team player. That's making sure that we equitably delegate effectively, so that we are ensuring that we delegate and then the light the burden of leadership. It lightens the the burden of execution. Those skills are core skills required. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, how do mindfulness and stress management techniques aid in managing the anxieties associated with uncertainty and change?
All right, thank you. One of the things that I personally realized is that while we cannot avoid stress, and some people also come up with the fact that there's what you call good stress and bad stress. The truth about it is that the moment people begin to feel stress and they engage with stressors, it always tends to lead to what we call emotional leakage. Emotional leakage puts pressure on people that for some people they tend to implode, shut down, withdraw. And when you refrain, you are not giving your best. At best, you are at an average level. For some people, they tend to explode. And so why sometimes you see corporations they shut down or just stay docile and quiet when they're in tough times, inflation, during recession, a lot of businesses begin to shut down on training, they begin to shut down on a lot of marketing, they begin to go quiet because the times are hard. Unfortunately, the times are hard is also an opportunity because the more people are keeping quiet and adjusting to change in a negative way, it means that there's lesser noise. This is the time where your market can hear you easily. And so, most of the time, what happens is that a lot of people who to practice the power of the pause, they are able to refresh themselves as individuals, they are able to refresh themselves as a team, and think clearly through coming up with cutting edge solutions. Sometimes it's even said some solutions can be actually born out of the place of the problem. They say that problem always carries solutions on their back, and solutions come with money in their hand. And so when people think about it that way, they begin to practice relieving stress because a cluttered mind might not be as productive. That's why sometimes people practice team bonding, people look for LD routine to ensure that they reduce the level of stress so that it can promote strategic thinking.
Thank you very much. Can you discuss the concept of the growth mindset and its role in helping individuals cope with uncertainty?
Thank you so much. When we think of the growth mindset, it speaks of a disposition and an attitude because mindset is all about attitude and disposition. And so it gives you a disposition of saying, it's difficult, but I'm going to try. I don't know it, but I'm willing to learn. For someone else who has a fixed or fixated position, they only resign to fate and say, well, I don't know it, and that's it. I'm shutting down. So a growth mindset gives us an opportunity to even try. It helps people to do what we call the integrity of input, amplifying their effort, looking at a way in engaging themselves with the things that they face. And so you find out that an organization that has a growth mindset attitude will not refrain at the slightest difficulty or at the slightest failure. They would begin to try again, learn from their failure, ask themselves what is there to learn. Sometimes they have what they call feedback meeting. That feedback meeting, they are going to be asking themselves, what did we do wrong? What did we learn from this? What can we do differently? So they begin to try again. And before you know it, they become tops at the thing they once failed at because they had the attitude and disposition for growth as opposed to a fixated mindset.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. How does embracing change stimulate innovation and creativity, both on an individual level and corporate level?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Please come again.
How does embracing change stimulate innovation and creativity, both on an individual level and collective level?
Thank you so much. When we embrace change, you find out that change in itself incubates creativity, because then we are now looking for meaningful ways to still find a solution around certain things. Found out that, for example, the invention of the what do you call it, the French fries that we call French fries today. If you study the documentary that shows how the French fries evolved, you will find out that it's actually ability to embrace change. In fact, the potato chips in the crisp form that people have in today's situation came out as a result of an unsatisfied customer that frustrated the chef, who now diced the potato in a very thin layer and then left it to be golden brown. And thinking it was going to frustrate the customer back, the customer gave him a feedback that this is nice. And that was the invention. So, what am I trying to say? When individuals begin to embrace change, what they are doing in disguise is they are opening themselves to a world of opportunity. They are opening themselves to a world of possibility. Sometimes you hear people say, when life throws you lemon, you have a positive attitude to that, you can turn the lemon to lemonade. And that's how it works, both individually and also in an organization level.
Very interesting. We get lemonade from the lemon thrown at us. Thank you for that. In the realm of career and professional development, we have looked at why we should embrace change and uncertainty. But can you give a typical example that you have come across as part of your experience that we can share in?
Okay, so let me use one or two examples. Personally, being in the training space and in the coaching space, I sometimes realize that not everybody has the time and sometimes the capacity, to pay or subscribe for high value ticket transaction. And so sometimes what I've done personally and I've seen other people do is to change the format. That's what you call format. The format at which the solution is still delivered. So while I probably have a coaching solution that is a high premium solution, I've sometimes created fragmented solutions where people can have a modular experience of a bigger thing. So I've created a big 12-month retainer solution, and I've created a 45 minutes practical enabling session that I call Ginger. So if you want some measure of enablement, some measure of solution, the ginger me can actually help you get to that point where you have enough at the time. But if you want something more elaborate and consistent, then you can sign for a handler service. Now, that is in itself making sure that I am not stuck into one model of delivery, but I'm able to break it down, tailor made to the different audience profile that I have based on this. It's still coaching, it's still me, but in a way, because it's now fragmented, the value is given at different levels and coming at different costs. And it makes it easier to deliver value to different levels and audience demography.
That is very true. What are some common psychological barriers that people face when trying to embrace change, and how can they overcome them?
Wow, that's a very good one. Psychological barriers exist. Sometimes a lot of people have what you call imposter syndrome. Most people don't feel they are good enough, or they feel they arrived too late. Some people even call themselves novices. So the stereotyping and self-labeling also gets to immobilize a lot of people. So if you want to embrace change and you want to champion change, one of the things you must understand is that there is no sin in trying. And then you also begin to think about it to say that you are actually good enough. And when you begin to think about it, The world is made up of 8 billion people. There's someone and there's a size of people still waiting and available to you, your individual self. So self-sabotage must be away with. Negative talk must be done away with. And then we begin to attract what we call a mindset of positive belief, where you are affirming to yourself that you are worth more. Think about what you do, and you find out that there's some uniqueness to you that you can offer the world, even though you're in a similar industry or similar market, you actually have something to offer.
Very well done. Thank you very much. You have really done us proud on this show today. I must apologize for that break in transmission earlier due to technology glitch that we had, but we have been able to surmount that quickly, and that is power of adaptability that we have been talking about. Changes do occur even when they are least expected, but it has not stopped our show. So that's a typical example of what we're saying. So a very big thank you to you, Mr. Rotimi Eyitayo, for sharing your insights on this very important topic with us today. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for the vast experience that you have thrown in to make us realize that we must be ready to adapt to new realities that will call changes and uncertainty. They are part of life. We appreciate you, and we
Thank
hope
you so much.
next time when we call on you, you avail us of your vast experience again. Thank you once again,
Thank you for having me.
Mr.
Thank you.
Rotimi Eyitayo. Thank you. So I think we just quickly go on a very short break, and then we'll come to our wrap-up session. Thank you very much. You are welcome. And thank you for staying tuned. We are at the wrap-up session. We have learned so much from the insights that our guests are thrown on this very crucial topic. Adapting to new realities is a must for all of us when we are talking of how to cope with changes and uncertainties. We need to adapt, be ready to look at valuable skills that can lead us to success in various aspects of our lives, and not just give up. Must be ready to think out of the box when changes happen or uncertainty happen to us. Then we must be ready to step out of our comfort zone. The comfort zone, as we know, will really give us progress. No pun intended. Growth really occurs within our comfort zone. So we must be ready to embrace uncertainty and push to explore new horizons. We must also cultivate resilience. We must cultivate resilience in order for us to have that desired breakthrough. Embracing change builds emotional resilience in us, enabling us to cope with setbacks and then make us to bounce back and we become stronger for it. Then we must explore opportunities amidst uncertainty. Sometimes those uncertain moments or changes that we consider bad are laden with hidden opportunities. So we must be open to change to allow us to spot and seize those opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. We must also be innovative and creative. That is very important. That will help us to think creatively and then come out with best alternative or best option. We must also engage in lifelong learning. This is necessary for us to foster a culture of self-improvement. Our guests told us about being self-aware, to know where we have lapses, where we need to improve ourselves. So that is very important. We also must build strong relationship. Embracing uncertainty together can forge stronger bonds and create a sense of camaraderie that gives us a better mileage on what individual can achieve. We should overcome the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown sometimes prevents us from venturing into unknown because we are afraid not to be hurt or not to lose money. But like they say, nothing venture, nothing gain. By facing uncertainty headlong, we gradually diminish the fear and anxiety associated with it. And this is very true. We also must be flexible in our planning. Yes, we know we must plan because, as they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But be that as it may, we must be flexible. We must be ready to adjust, to be open-minded, to adjust our plans, to allow for changes that may occur from time to time, and maybe even uncertainty too. Then personal growth and self-discovery is very important. We must embrace new experiences to allow us to learn more about ourselves and our capabilities and see how we can push ourselves further to achieve a lot more. We must build adaptability skills, like we said. If when the technology glitch came, I had to quickly look at what alternative do I have to get back to the show. I didn't just get struck in distress. I had to think of way to get back to the show. So we must have that adaptability skills to embrace change, train ourselves to remain agile and ready to pivot new areas when necessary. Mindfulness and present moment is also very important because it compels us to focus on the present rather than worrying about the future. Sometimes the fear of the future, the fear of the unknown will not make them to venture or to even address the issue that they have presently at hand. So as a form of conclusion, we are in a world that is constantly evolving, where change and uncertainty have become our steadfast companions. It's essential that we learn not just to cope, but to thrive amidst these shifting tides. As we stand at the crossroad of progress, let us remember that embracing change is not surrendering to chaos, but a journey towards growth and opportunities. The path ahead might be uncharted, obscured by the fog of uncertainty, but it is within these moments of ambiguity that our true potential emerges. So we must be forward-looking, must have courage and be curious and be ready to adapt, learn, and innovate. Embracing change requires us to shed the constraints of comfort and tradition, to open ourselves to fresh perspective and novel ideas. Though changes may bring challenges, it also ushers in transformation. We must remind ourselves that the caterpillar, as we all know it, does not lament the loss of its old form, but embraces the chrysalis as a bridge to becoming a magnificent butterfly, which is very beautiful than the caterpillar. So similarly, each phase of change we encounter brings with it the promise of growth, renewal, and newfound strength. At this point, I would like to appreciate our online audience. I've seen Pastor Sheyi and our regular viewers as well. I appreciate all of you for staying true and remaining connected with this show. We thank you for sparing time to connect with us today. Please keep in touch for further assistance on this topic. I hope you have all enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. Once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button, like and share our videos. Stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, let us welcome change as the sculptor of our destiny, molding us into more capable, compassionate, and resilient beings. And may our embrace of change light the way to a future rich with possibility. Thank you very much, and God bless you.